The Twitter files revealed the unrestricted power and censorship regularly exercised by the three witnesses in front of us today, Mr. Roth, Ms. Gaddy, and Mr. Baker. Now, Ms. Navaroli, in your opening, you stated that too few people and companies have too much power. Well, I think you're right. The witnesses here today, they had too much power at Twitter. And they tried to play the role of God as they interfered with a natural right of the people to a free and fair election. Twitter knowingly suspended the New York Post's account, one of the most reliable conservative voices in the country, in fear that an honest story would swing the most divisive election in American history into the hands of their enemy, former President Donald Trump. Now, Mr. Roth, you were part of the secretive SIP-PES censorship team at Twitter, correct?
No, sir, I'm not sure what that refers to.
Mr. Roth, the Twitter files revealed that you rarely adhered to company policy in making your censorship decisions. One reporter from the Twitter files called your group a, quote, high-speed Supreme Court of moderation, issuing content rulings on the fly, often in minutes, based on guesses, gut calls, and even Google searches in cases even involving the president. Do you recall making decisions in this manner?
No, I do not.
Can you explain the process for these quick decisions?
Thank you for the question. I think the core of content moderation, whether it's fast or slow, begins with a written set of rules and policies, and that was the primary responsibility of my group at Twitter. It wasn't about making a one-off decision in the moment. It was about having a written and codified set of, well, laws for the platform that we followed in each instance. In the vast majority of cases, content moderation decisions were not made by me or by another executive or even by a member of my direct team. They were made by hundreds of content moderators enforcing those rules again and again and again. The situations in which decisions would be escalated to senior executives were few and far between and largely related to the really hard gray area calls.
So, Mr. Roth, as part of the, quote, Supreme Court of Moderation at Twitter, did you have the final call over political censorship decisions?
No, sir, I did not.
Then who had the final call on these decisions?
There was a team of people, some of whom represented on this panel today, others not, who were involved in trying to make these decisions. But a portrayal that any one person held sort of supreme or ultimate authority over these decisions would misrepresent what the process was.
So your team labeled high-profile accounts as VITs, standing for very important tweeters. What was the threshold for being labeled as a VIT?
That's an excellent question for which there is not a consistent answer. I don't think Twitter was particularly well put together on that definition.
So was the New York Post labeled a VIT?
I believe the New York Post's account is verified, and verification conferred some of that status of being a VIT, but again, the definitions here are a little squishy.
Now, is it true that the Twitter comms director, Trenton Kennedy, said in regard to the Post story, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this unsafe?
Yes, it's my understanding that Mr. Kennedy said that.
Was the New York Post story regarding Hunter Biden's laptop marked unsafe regardless of uncertainty?
It is true that Twitter marked links to that story as unsafe in a number of our systems, which resulted in restricting people's ability to tweet it. That was the decision that Twitter reversed 24 hours later.
Well, it's clear from this panel that too few people had too much power. The New York Post Twitter account was suspended in an attempt by Democrats and big tech to go ahead and play God and interfere in a natural, free, and fair election in the free flow of information in this country. The censorship is unbounded. The New York Post has been a reliable source for decades, including their coverage of the nursing home scandals in New York during the pandemic. Now that you and many others are gone from the company, there is hope that this platform will once again be a place where voices can be heard and respected, and it can return to be a town hall for all points of view, no matter if you agree with them or not, sir, and that our elections will never again be controlled by big tech. I yield back.
Gentleman yield.